All right, y'all, taking a look at Arcblock, ABT. I'm on the weekly time frame, and this is an intriguing one. I've never heard of this coin. This is by request. I don't know much about the fundamentals. I did some light preliminary research on it, but you know, I did not do an in-depth dive on it, but we're going to take a look from a technical standpoint here, okay? And this is kind of a weird one. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. Just stick with me, okay? So it's been around since about 2018 back here. It was released in a bear market, and it ran down. But then out of nowhere, it got this massive spike up in the middle of a bear market. It spiked up 1,200%. And just to compare, let's throw in a little side-by-side with Fetch AI, which is kind of my go-to comparison. And that was during this same time frame right... Sorry about that. Let me go back. Right here, you can see Fetch was headed down, right into the bear market, just like most other coins, while ARC was popping to the upside. So not really sure what's going on there. It had to have been some sort of news-driven pump. But so I'm going to look at going forward from that. You had the bear market. It did come back down. It was kind of a pump and dump. It took a little while to come back down, but it did come down for the bear market. And then in 2021, you set a high. Let me get rid of Fetch real quick. In 2021, you set a cycle high here of 36 cents with a circulating supply of 98.5 million and a market cap high of 36 million, okay? Come down to the bear market of 2022, 2023, and then come into the last cycle, May of 2024, you demolished your previous high. You ran all the way up to $4.55. More than a 10x. With the same circulating supply, 98.5 million and a $464 million market cap. Now, looking at today's price action, you have the same circulating supply sitting at about 19 cents and a $19.5 million market cap. It is a very small market cap, very small circulating supply, which actually makes it hard, very, very difficult to get in and out of this coin with any large order. Extremely difficult. So if you're looking to invest a lot in this, you're going to have a hard time getting your orders filled. However, it doesn't mean it's all bad, and if you're with a smaller amount, you should be able to get it invested. But here's the problem. Here's part of the problem. Let's look at coin market cap. So you have 98.5 million coins, but your max or total circulating supply is 186, so almost double. And my problem with it, here you can see it's pretty much been consistent. You had this weird release over here, and this is what caused that crazy spike over here. You probably had some unlocks, some burns, or some mergers over here, and tokens were getting spiked up, spiked down. But since then, you've been pretty flat. But at some point, your coins are going to go like this. Boom! All the way up to 186 million coins. The problem is, I can't find anything published that says when that's going to happen. That could be tomorrow. That could be next year. That could be 2050. I don't know, and that's the problem. It's probably buried in the white paper from the early days of this coin, or I really don't know. So if you're looking to invest in this coin, you haven't had an increase since the release, but at some point you're definitely going to. They've already said that. I just can't find where it is. So you could run into a problem here where, and I'm not saying you will, I don't know. You could run into a problem here between now and next cycle where they release all 100 million or 98 million of those coins, and then you have to do double whatever you did before to make it back to all-time high. I just don't know, so it's a wild card there. However, because you did not increase your circulating supply, you can fib this, okay? Normally you can't fib a coin on a macro scale because you have token unlocks and price is not linear. So you would have to go over to your market cap to fib it, but which we'll look at market cap, huge increase in market cap. But you can fib this or you can fib price in this case, and it's the same because you did not increase coins, okay? So usually when you see a big run up like this and a huge imbalance, which is a clear imbalance right here, you almost always retrace to recover that imbalance. And you've done that. You've come back into this obvious level of support for price, right? A bunch of support right here, right? But usually when you see this, this means you got overextended and you very rarely return to here. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you won't. It is just unusual. You get a spike up, you create an imbalance, the market says that is not fair value, that is overpriced. You retrace, recover the imbalance, and then on the next cycle, you wind up with a retracement level somewhere. You don't wind up with new highs. You can, but it's unusual. So knowing that, and I've been doing this for 12 years professionally. I'm a professional trader. I don't do anything else. So knowing that, I would want to fib this. And again, normally I would fib market cap, but since you have not increased coins, you don't have to do that. You can put your fib directly on price. Now, this is not applicable if they do unlock the rest of the coins, okay? So you'll need to try to figure out when that is. I just couldn't find it, and I tried. If anybody finds it, please comment below. Let me know what that unlock schedule looks like. So let's throw the fib on there and see what it looks like. These are your Fibonacci levels, and I've actually marked them out. I like to make them a little more bold and stand out on my chart, so I've marked them out for you guys right there. These are the fib levels. Should you return to these, these are the prices that you're going to be looking for. And if you do set highs, you can actually use these as accumulation targets, because most of the time you're going to come to the 382, even if you're going to set new highs. Most of the time you're going to come here, find some resistance, come back. You could sell here, rebuy here, come to the golden pocket, resell, rebuy it to 382, and then take on off, and you're accumulating massive amounts. These can be 40-50% drops sometimes. You can accumulate a lot of coins just by being aware of where your market cap fib levels are and buying and selling those if you get the reaction you want to see there, and preferably with some bearish divergences there. So it's good to know these even if you do go to new highs. So what do I think you're going to do? Knowing that this imbalance likely creates a retrace somewhere and not new highs, my bull market price prediction for Arcblock is $200 million market cap, or a $2.03 Arcblock. And another thing I really like about this level, you can see this is actually a really obvious macro support and resistance level, right? I mean, you can zoom in on these, and you can see right here, you clearly rejected from it, came back down, finally broke through it, held it as support, and then you broke through it, and it was resistance, 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 resistance. So I think that's going to be a tough level to break through. And again, keep in mind that my price prediction is assuming you stay at the $98.5 million circulating supply. If that doubles, then this could change. But as of now, I think a conservative target, I think a realistic target is going to be $200 million market cap. I do think you're going to get a shot at a little bit lower prices. I think you come back into this zone of support, into the green box, probably take out this low, create some bullish divergence before go time. So if you could get a price back in this green box again, let's just say you barely wick the lows and you run up to $2, you could be looking at a 14-15x. So really good opportunity here, I think. I actually like this coin, with the asterisk that you don't get the other half of the tokens unlocked between now and next cycle, okay? If you do, maybe not so much. We'll have to revisit it at that point and do some kind of Chinese arithmetic on the market cap formula compared to price. But as of now, if things stay like they are, I think you could get a 14-15x out of this. And even if you retrace to a low, that is a 382. That is a 382 retrace. That is not even like your standard golden pocket retrace. If you retrace to the golden pocket, then, I mean, you're looking at a 20x, guys. This coin actually looks really good. I like this coin. I would want to do a little more investigating on the token unlock, but good coin with a good potential return on investment here. So let me know what you think below in the comments. What do you think of my prediction? What are your predictions? Especially let me know if you know anything about the token unlocks. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to do Arcblock updates along the way, as well as other altcoins. Drop a comment below if you want me to look up your altcoin. I'll be happy to do so. I'll see you guys next time.